after this session today. We will save some time at the end of today's session for Q&A as well. So if any questions come up for you during today's talk, please feel free to put them right into the chat, or you can hold on to them and you'll have an opportunity to unmute yourself towards the end and ask your questions directly to our speakers today. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to our speakers, Joram and Belinda.
Hi, everyone. My name is Linda Tracy. I work as a training manager for BCCI and also a recruitment manager, so I have two roles. And thanks for being here today, and we're happy to introduce our company to you.
My name is Joram Malasso. I am a project manager here at BCCI, and as Cheryl mentioned, I was part of the first pilot group. At the time, it was called Accelerated Math Gateway Program. So happy to be here. It's kind of full circle for me. So yeah, thanks for having us.
So we'll start with who BCCI is. Well, we are a San Francisco-based company. We have 275 employees, and that's including our laborers and our workforce. We include our laborers as our employees because they're important to us and they do a lot of the great work, and we include them in all of our events and anything that's going on at BCCI. So we love to see them in the office as well. We just don't think of them as in the field. We also combine our labor force in our office too and hang out with them. We are mainly a TI company, so that's corporate interiors. However, we do a lot of business with education, government, and healthcare. We're trying to get into the hospitality industry and life science. And here, if you see, our services include client advisory. So we actually get ahead of the game. We're like an all-encompassed service. We get in even before we start building. We network with the clients ahead of time and advise them on anything they may need. Even if we're not going to get the job, we do advisory counsel also. And design build is huge for us. So we also have a permit services. You can see them all listed there. In-house architects, designers, and professional services groups. And our industry, our top clients are some of the biggest and well-known clients in the Bay Area. We do, as I said, corporate interiors. Education includes Stanford. We have done work, or we are doing work for Kaiser, Google, and it just runs the gamut. A lot of, I should say, legal offices as well. So you can see that's our sector is very broad, and we're going into the healthcare, so we want to broaden our scope as we come out of COVID. So who we are is really our core values, and this is really important to BCCI. We are we put quality over quantity. Our work, we have a in-house services QCC program that we strive to do just the best work possible, and we're committed to the project from the beginning to the end. We are teamwork, as I said, they throw this out all the time, but I can't say enough of how we collaborate with many of our teams, and that's our core success is collaboration with both in-house. We not only collaborate with our clients, we also collaborate in our office, and our relationships. If we build on good relationships in our office, that streamlines to our client. And we try to empower people every day. We are an innovative company, and we push our people to the max if they want to go there. So, and we try to get them up this, career ladder as, quickly as possible. But in construction, it does take a lot of time, as Joram will speak to that later. Working at BCCI, we are huge. I'm also the training manager, and I'm big into developing people. As I said, Durham has come in as an intern, and he is now a project manager, and that road is, it is doable for anyone coming in as an intern. And my job is actually, it's very satisfying to know that interns coming in, that's my goal, that they eventually will become project managers or in the field or any position, superintendent, any role that they wish to achieve. We'll try and get them there. We do have competitive salary. We're in the Bay Area, and our office is, as you can see, this picture is just a picture of our hospitality area.
That's our poker room, by the way.
That's the poker room, yeah. Where people lose a lot of chips. And yeah, we do strive to do a work-life balance. Construction is deadline oriented, as you all know, but we try to have a little fun as we work hard as well. Our culture, I did want to put this slide in because it shows us having fun. And we do a lot of events. We have an in-house culture committee, a sustainability committee, lots of committees here to ensure that our employees have a great experience and can collaborate and even hang out together and have fun. So this is just some of the pictures of our events here at BCCI.
Yeah, and to add to that, like one of the things that I really love about working at BCCI is there is an emphasis on, fostering a tight-knit community. The fact that we're not a huge corporation definitely helps with that. But the folks at the top really do make an effort to provide opportunities and events for everyone to kind of get to know each other outside of work. I think the fact of the matter is we spend more time around each other on a daily basis than we do at home with our families. So I think having people on your team that you mesh well with and putting the right personalities together is just as important as assembling teams based on skill and competency.
So this main picture here, I just want to talk to that was about women in construction that we did, and it was very enjoyable. We do celebrate that all weekend. So we are definitely our company is, first and foremost, we want a company to look like the world in general. So diversity, equity, and inclusion are definitely buzzwords here at BCCI. And as a recruiter and a trainer, we want to bring in the best candidates possible, and we strive to reach out to as many corporations as we can to bring the best people in. So I want to talk a little bit about our studio model. It's a little different than other organizations. We previously were a departmentally run organization, and we transitioned to a studio model. It's very similar to project executive role. And so we have roughly over 10 studios within our company. And each of these studios have a studio director, which runs a small pod of individuals, and they go from each project. The goal of the studio model is for us to really collaborate as a team with our clients and to go from each team to go from project to project. The reason we did this was we wanted to more collaboration. We wanted transparency and in our groups also, and we wanted people to have empathy for each other's roles, because each of these studios have a studio director, PMs, pre-con. We have superintendents, we have project accountants, all working together. So each of this group works very closely together. So that's what our intention was behind that. And once we had a well-run studio, with our clients, we could hone in on any, what would I say, we could hone in our expertise, and everybody gets a say in these studios. So
yeah, as Linda mentioned, our transition to this model was pretty recent. I think formally rolled out like right before the pandemic hit.
yes.
But one of the things that I'm excited about the studio model is, and I'm currently in the structure studio, is that it really allows for each project team to experience the full construction project cycle, from like the RFP interview process through the project closeout. But I think prior to the studio model rollout, sort of like smaller separate teams were responsible for each phase of a project. So you had one team covering the RFP and interview, another doing the pre-construction and buyout. And then the project would kind of just land in our hands on the PMs and field side. So now, everyone has an opportunity, as Linda said, to collaborate and experience all aspects of the project with that collective knowledge, really just making everyone's jobs easier. So interiors is really the meat and potatoes of what we do. A large portion of our projects being high-end commercial spaces, as Linda mentioned, for clients ranging from tech companies to health clubs. I actually started my career here at BCCI working on a pretty wide range of interior projects, ranging from small lobby upgrades to multi-floor high-rise build-outs. And as an intern, I actually worked on like a little partial floor project at the Square headquarters, which is in the bottom right-hand corner there in the slide. The full build-out happened before I got here, but that sort of wood staircase auditorium seating feature you can see there was definitely like one of the cooler features I've seen in our portfolio. And then there is our structures division, where we've traditionally done a lot of seismic upgrades and historic restoration work. But my past two projects have both involved some structural steel upgrades, which obviously comes with a different set of challenges and know-how versus an interior space build out. We're also currently working to expand our services to cover large-scale ground-up projects, which is one of the main reasons I jumped over the structures team. My background is in civil engineering, so I went to school wanting to like build bridges and buildings. So we're sort of trending in that direction, hopefully. We're also actually, I should say on that note, one of the great things about working here at BCCI is you're not stuck to a specific area. So, you do have the freedom to kind of move around within the company. For example, if you wanted to transition to the field, or, maybe you're more interested in the pre-construction process, you do have the opportunity to gain that experience. And just another quick note here, I didn't work on the battery project. There's two pictures here in the slide. But one of the more, I guess, kind of interesting problems that came up on that one is that when we went to excavate for foundation work, we actually uncovered some old ship artifacts, which turned into a whole nother thing that involved like having to stop work to allow for like archaeologists to come out and verify and extract artifacts. Like a really a really big deal that kind of just stopped everything, stopped the schedule pretty much. And I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with San Francisco, but that particular area, which is kind of out by our office actually, but it's out by the Exploratorium. I think at one point was all water. So anyhow, suffice to say, I think it's appropriate to note here that that problem solving is like definitely going to be like a main theme for all of your careers. in STEM and engineering.
So opportunities, there are plenty of opportunities at BCCI. We are always looking for good people that really want to learn, have a passion for construction and building, because we are builders at heart. And we always look for project engineers, and this is an entry-level role in our position. So it's basically a project engineer in our company is someone that spends about maybe a year and a half in this role, and then we transition them to an APM. So it's a lot of paperwork, obviously, because construction is paperwork as well. So, and internships, we also take on a small amount of interns, but we have openings for 4 interns each summer. And they could be anywhere from in the field or project management team. So we really, we do go to schools and we recruit interns from construction management degrees. So.
Yeah, and so I'll dive in here a little bit about my experience as an intern, because I did start at BCCI as a summer intern. I started here in the summer of 2017, but my main responsibility as an intern was to support the project management team under the direct supervision of an assistant project manager, and that really entailed handling typical project documentation, whether that was, doing meeting minutes, preparing weekly tracking logs, submittal RFI drawing logs, which we had to issue to our clients on a weekly basis, putting together project closeout packages, lots and lots of closeouts. So just, I guess for everyone's reference, a closeout package it's essentially like a final compiled document that's like one of the very last steps needed to formally close out a project. It's kind of the last thing like a PM wants to do. So naturally, I was tasked with doing a lot of them. I also assisted putting together RFIs and submittals, which, like closeouts, they're a really vital component to all construction projects. And then, I also had some opportunities to go to the job site and assist the field team where needed, whether that was putting together and organizing drawings or, reaching out to subcontractors for coordination items. But I think what's really important to be aware of, that as an intern at BCCI, you're essentially doing all of the tasks that an entry-level project engineer would be responsible for on a day-to-day basis. So it's not as if you're doing random tasks. You're actually doing the things that you would normally do here at BCCI anyways, in the entry-level position. So with any internship, mine was a great way to kind of test the waters and gain insight into this particular industry. Fortunately for me, it turned out to be something I was really interested in pursuing as a career. So that said, I think just to kind of switch gears here, I did want to take a moment to kind of share a little bit about my journey. As obviously I was once in your guys' shoes as part of the first growth sector cohort program at City College. So I graduated high school in 2001, which is a little crazy to say out loud. But essentially right after high school, I was in and out of community college for the next few years, and I wasn't really doing my transcript any favors by failing a bunch of classes and racking up W's. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so during that span, my intended majors ranged anywhere from psychology to music theory, and then by 2005, I basically found myself, out of school altogether and just kind of working full-time at a food service job. But then about 5 years later, after getting engaged in 2010, I decided, I wanted to really commit to going back to school and getting my degree. And obviously, big life events tend to do that. So the fall of 2011 was my first semester back at SF City College as a serious student. So over the first few semesters, I was still working part-time, but I was also, I started the process of trying to knock out all of my general transfer requirements, while also kind of taking the time to really dive in and research potential careers and majors. But, I eventually decided on engineering. And, as I'm sure you're all aware, majoring in engineering it's basically like majoring in math, as you pretty much have to take every single math class available at your community college. So, being someone that up to that point avoided math at all costs, like I hated math for a long time. I wasn't too surprised when I went to take my placement test and I was placed into like the lowest remedial math class offered. So, and when I say remedial math, like I legit had to relearn adding and subtracting fractions. So as you can imagine, as I'm finishing up my pre-algebra course during my second semester, I'm looking at the sequence for engineering, or the course sequence for engineering, and kind of looking at the amount of math needed. I'm thinking I'm going to be in school for like 10 years. Like I might as well I might as well be in med school. So daunting to say the least. And then, like, kind of miraculously, I get an email that summer about a new cohort program called the Accelerated Math Gateway Program, aka AMG, which offered a pathway to finish 4 semesters in math and 2, while providing engineering major specific support services and like academic counseling. So it was really almost like the universe was speaking to me. Anyway, suffice to say, I was like, just sign me up immediately. And I know I'm probably going to sound, biased in saying this, but like it really was a life-changing experience for me. So over, the course of those next 2 semesters, I had the support system to not only kind of work through all that math, but to also really prep me for transferring to a 4-year and beyond. I think one of the biggest things for me was that, it felt like I wasn't on an island trying to work my way through all this coursework. I think what was great was, there were all these people from different backgrounds, ages, and experience levels, kind of working towards the same goal. I think I think we tend to think that whatever we're going through is specific to us, but it's obviously never the case. So it's always empowering being around other people that are kind of working through the same issues as you are. I also really appreciated that there was a lot of effort into making everyone aware of like the wealth of services available outside of the program. So while we had like in-house tutoring workshops and academic counseling, like that was all great, but they put us onto services and programs that I had no idea were available, nor would I have thought to seek them out on my own. Right. So for example, I had no idea there was like free math and science tutoring on campus. I also had no idea that there was like a school monitored database for academic scholarships. So that's essentially free money. I think a lot of students, I for one, aren't aware that there's basically like free buckets of money that various organizations and charities kind of set aside specifically earmarked for giving away. So it's money that they have to give away, but that you obviously have to apply for. I remember getting like $1,500 just for like meeting eligibility requirements of like a 2.5 GPA and being of Asian descent. I mean, I obviously had to write a short essay, but that's a small price to pay for an amount of money that for a struggling student goes like a super long way. So I digress, but the last thing I'll mention about my time with the cohort is that they did also set me up with my first summer internship at NASA Ames Center in Mountain View, studying green technology and sustainability, which that was a pretty awesome experience. But going back to my point about internships being opportunities to kind of test the waters, prior to my NASA internship, I had thoughts of pursuing green engineering. So while I had an awesome time at NASA, it did definitely help me realize that my career interests kind of lay elsewhere. So I think at the end of the day, my time with the cohort really springboarded me, getting through transferring to SF State, and set up a really great foundation for success at the 4-year level. And on that note, I eventually was able to transfer to the civil engineering program at SF State in 2016. Again, I was fortunate enough to land my summer internship here at BCCI in 2017, which really, I think, solidified my choice to pursue a career in project management. So upon my internship ending, I apparently made enough of an impression to the brass here at BCCI that they offered me a part-time position while I actually finished school, which was great, with basically a full-time offer and promotion waiting for me upon graduating in 2019. So I'm obviously still at the company now, and I really enjoy what I do, and also the people around me. So that pretty much brings us up to speed. But I think before we wrap up, I do want to offer up just a few last thoughts here. Is I think you guys are all in a unique and advantageous position, being part of this program. I thought very highly of it when I was part of the pilot version way back when. So I'm pretty sure it's only gotten a lot better. That said, I think it's really important to really put yourselves out there and take advantage of the tools and resources that are being offered to you. Even if you don't necessarily find some of them to be beneficial to you specifically, I think just the act of getting out there and being part of the larger academic community really goes a long way in developing the soft skills needed to be successful in your careers. So yeah, I think we're going to open up for Q&A now. But I did want to mention that, as Cheryl mentioned, we'll be following up today's presentation with an email to everyone that includes our contact info and information on how to apply for internship positions. I'm also more than happy to be a resource for any of you if you have specific questions about my experience in the program, or if you just want to know a little bit more about what I do. My info, my email and cell phone will be in there, so please don't hesitate to shoot me an email or text.
Wow, huge thank you, Joram. And Belinda, both of you. That was very insightful. And for our STEM core students on the line, I really, truly hope that you take advantage of this offer to be able to expand your network. And when somebody gives you opportunity to tap them and ask questions and shares contact information, you definitely need to utilize that opportunity. So I hope to hear that several of you are following up and also following BCCI on social media and platforms. But I do want to give the opportunity to our students and open it up for questions. So I do see a few that popped up in the chat, but you can also feel free to unmute yourself, raise your hand, ask a question to our speakers. I do see the first question that came through was asking what the initials stand for BCCI.
I'm going to take this one. Well, it actually was, our CEO was he was in a partnership with somebody else at the time. So it's BCCI, it stands for Brent, I think his name was Brent Builders. I can't remember, but anyway, it's mainly the guy that was in business with our CEO, and they eventually parted ways because our CEO, Mike Scribner, is very much people focused, and his partner was not so much. He was like, people are a dime a dozen, they come and go, blah, blah. So our CEO really wanted to branch off and make a company that was people. He believes people is his biggest asset. The right people in the company is a huge asset to him and their career growth. So that is the kind of premise behind BCCI. So he didn't rebrand, he just stuck with BCCI.
Nice, thank you. I see another question from Paris in the chat asking, well, a few questions for locations. So if you have locations in your Los Angeles and San Diego, and if you do currently have internships open for this summer.
We do have a location in Los Angeles. It's a startup. I like to call it a startup office, and there's roughly about 12 people, 14 people there. We're not offering internships at the moment, but we plan to offer them. And the reason for that is we don't have the structure in place and the people to actually give interns a great experience yet, but definitely we hope to do that next year.
Thank you. And a few more questions are coming up. All right, does BCCI require experience in AutoCAD for internships?
No.
Or even let's even consider entry level even.
No, we train our internships on our processes and procedures. So we're definitely, being computer savvy is a key and being, eager to learn is one, but we mentor and we teach interns our software.
Yeah, and I think I did want to mention, because that's a question that I remember having a lot, or when I was applying to internships. But I think this is true for interning at BCCI, but I feel like it's probably true for interning at a lot of other places. Is that I think while having the knowledge on certain programs and those sort of hard skills, while they're important, I almost feel like I guess being eager to kind of just do kind of the menial tasks as an intern, but understanding that you're gaining really valuable experiences is, I'd say, probably more important than a lot of those hard skills, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know if you'd agree with that statement, Linda, but
yes, I do. It's not so much about the hard skills for our interns. We don't want to, definitely put any huge pressure on them. The experience in a construction management team is key, and getting an insight into the workings of, you know, a GC. That's what we're aiming. We do want our interns to have a all around about experience. You can learn software if you're savvy enough, and we understand that. We're very people focused. So if you just need to be very interested and engaged in what we're doing here, our interns, and I would say just be a benefit to the team. I always tell when I'm interviewing interns, and like ask questions, be a resource. Don't sit there waiting for someone to come to you and give you work. Be proactive, because it's a busy office, and our culture is to give people, you know, the tools that they can to succeed. So we do love people to jump in and help out, you know, the team.
Great. Thank you for saying that. I feel like that's something that we talk to our students a lot about, even for our students in their STEM core year, that you know, the program obviously has like a ton of opportunities, but it's also so much of like what you make it. And I think that's a very common theme, just as you're moving towards a professional degree and moving towards like a profession, is being able to seek out opportunities, ask questions, get yourself involved. Okay, I want to make sure that we're clarifying as well. I think there's a little bit of confusion in the chat. Are there no internships at the Los Angeles office, but there are opportunities for internships in San Francisco and Mountain View?
Yes, there are.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so everybody, there's currently no internships in the Los Angeles office
At this time, and that's not to say there won't be, or at the moment it's San Francisco and Mountain View.
Great. Thank you for clarifying. I see a question from Al in the chat asking, do you provide Six Sigma and project management certifications?
We do not offer certifications. We have our employees, actually, they have a stipend, or we have a $3,000 pool for student or our PEs, or anyone that wants to further their education. We've had some people do the project management certification at Berkeley, and we support that. We also, what we do, our formal training here is blueprint reading, scheduling, and MEP course. So those are the three main ones that we do teach, and they are probably our strongest courses at the moment. We do have a lot of soft skills. We have a whole library of LinkedIn Learning also.
All right, I see another question in the chat for Joram. This is from Julio asking, Joram, would you say the internship opportunities you took on helped you narrow down what specifically you wanted to do within the field of engineering? And how else did you figure out this was the career path you wanted to take?
Yeah, so to answer the first question, absolutely. Like I said, I think, you know, the first NASA internship, because I went into school having the thoughts of like, you know, I want to do traditional design engineering, and I want to work on sustainability. And so the internship at NASA kind of gave me a little taste of what that was going to be like, and I realized like that's might not be something that I actually want to pursue as a career. And then, you know, I will say, and this is kind of ties to the second part of the question, is during, like, after I transferred and kind of working through my courses at State, I did start to realize that I really didn't want to do the traditional like design pathway. But you know, you do a bunch of group projects. You do a lot of group projects, I should say, once you transfer, or just in the engineering major just in general. So I think at some point I realized, I enjoy that aspect more, like the teamwork and kind of the management of sort of working on projects. Like I realized pretty early on, like that I was more drawn to that. And so when I interned at BCCI, again, that really just solidified it for me, because I was able to just kind of see what they do and just see what project managers actually do and what that career entails. And so again, and that's why I'm here. So yeah, I hope that answers the question, but the internship here at BCCI definitely sort of kind of solidified it for me that this is what I wanted to do.
Right. Yeah. Julio says yes, that answered his question. Thank you for that. Paris is asking clarifying questions in regards to internships. If your internships are in San Francisco and we live in San Diego, do you potentially offer housing stipends, and are the internships funded?
We do offer paid internships. We don't offer a stipend for housing. We're just not big enough for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're in San Francisco and yeah, it's not just viable. So we do counsel our interns to have like friends here, or if they know someone, they can rent a room or with somebody for the summer. But we don't offer stipends.
Great, thank you for clarifying.
But we pay our interns.
Yeah, which is another huge bonus. Well, lots of internship questions. Just a follow up to how long do the summer internships last for?
As long as you would like them to last for. I say we don't have any set rule. I do try to work with the students when they can start and end. We do like them to have at least 2-3 months. It's up to them, really. If they want to get as much out of that internship as they can, we'll keep them on.
Gotcha.
If I have a good intern that is an asset to a team and they want to stay with that team and it's working both parties, I'm going to keep that intern until, I'm not going to keep, obviously you can't be an intern for a year, but as long as we'll work with them.
Okay. I see a hand up. Gabe?
Yeah, real quick, Joram, you mentioned that when you were talking about your experience that, you said, to quote you, that you hated math and that it was challenging for you. I remember when you were in the program, you had a pretty core group of your peers in the cohort that you studied with a lot, right? And I think one of the challenges that a lot of not only students in the STEM core, but students in general face if we're not excited about math or not feeling super confident in our skills, it's hard to like ask for help or to work with other folks. Like, how did you start working in groups, and how did you, how did that help you as you went through, as you said, every math class that the college offers?
I think, yeah, one of the big things was like there were other students that kind of were at the same kind of disadvantage as I was. Like that was super helpful. Like I'm not the only person that like didn't historically like math or isn't the greatest, didn't have the greatest handle on math. But I think just being around the same group of people is obviously you sort of like we were put into groups, but you also sort of kind of gravitate to the people that you kind of like you mesh well with. But again, I think that the biggest thing for me was just like again being around like the same group of people and like the group of people that had the similar struggles as I did. So as opposed to like if I wasn't in the program, I think and I'm trying to work through all this math. It's like you again, you do feel like you're on an island. So you know, that was the biggest thing for me, definitely.
I want to give the opportunity if there are any questions, if anybody wants to unmute themselves and ask a question. I know we're coming up close on our time here. Well, Jorm, I did have, well, actually for both of our speakers, I do have a follow-up or just a kind of a closing question, just in terms of any advice that you would give a student who's at this stage in their STEM career and really working towards degree completion and future employment. So from your perspective, sort of in recruiting, Linda, and then also Jorm, just especially because you have the insight for students who are currently in the program, looking back, any advice that you would give a student who is at this stage currently? And I see also Gabe sharing a photo of Jorm and his peers way back. So you guys can all click on that in the meantime while we're listening.
Sweet bow tie, Jorm.
I think I still have that bow tie. I should actually wore that today. That exact outfit would have been appropriate. But yeah, to answer your question, I think, and again, this is just my personal experience because I felt like just so overwhelmed, kind of thinking about, you know, working through to get an engineering degree. I think a really important thing to keep in mind is that it's you know, it's not a sprint, like it's a marathon. And the thing that helped me was like, if you're you know, thinking about how much classes you have to take, how long it's going to take you, like that, it's going to feel like it's going to take you forever. So one of the things that really helped me is like having little small victories, little small, you know, small wins all along the way. You have these little small successes, like I crushed this test, or like you know, we had this like little project that I feel like we I forget the class, Gabe, but it was the class where we had to like build robots. I don't know if that's still a class at City College, but anyways, like these little, you know, these little projects, there's like these little milestones. And I think, you know, the way to kind of to push through to the end, for me anyways, was like just kind of racking up these little victories, little small victories, and then, you know, that snowballs, and then by the time you know it, like 5 years has passed, and like it goes quick. So that's a big thing for me, because again, you know, I've literally started from the first math class. So I remember just thinking like, this is like impossible. Like I'm not gonna be able to do this. But so again, little baby steps, little small victories that kind of just go along, and you know, but as soon as you know it, like you're there at the end.
Great words of wisdom from our valued alum. Thank you for that.
And I just want to say, as a recruiter, always come, you know, I have a lot of, you know, interns or talking to people all day long about positions. Just come with, definitely be prepared in your interview. Know the company you're actually applying for and what they do, and just be very prepared to have that conversation, and have as many interviews as you can, because you just get more comfortable as you go along. But I do a very casual interview first, you know, so I'm not, depending on what position it is. So, but be prepared. That's all I say.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. And I see another question has popped up from Al, asking a more specific question. Do you have any visually impaired individuals working for you? And if so, how do you accommodate?
We actually do have one visually impaired, and we accommodate, it's a he, so him, it just depends on his needs. I do know we work very much visually. IT, I think, has worked on the computer, but I don't know personally, but we have made accommodations. He's been with us for, I think now 3 years. So yes, we make whatever their needs is. We do an assessment also, what he needs at his desk. And that's all I can say about that. I don't want to keep going on when I don't really know the ins and outs, but we definitely accommodate that. And he is actually in our estimating department, which is a very, you're on the computer a lot in there and deadline oriented. So.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Last chance, if anybody has any final remarks, questions before we close out our talk. All right. Well, huge thank you to our two speakers for being here today. Thank you so much for sharing your insight, your wisdom, and we're really hoping that for our students who are on the line that you take advantage of this talk. We'll be following up with the recording of today's session, contact information, and just more information for you to be able to get in touch with our speakers and how you can stay connected to BCCI. Again, thank you everybody for being here today, and we will definitely be in contact with more information for you. So have a great weekend and take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.